What is going on, everybody? It is 10:35, a Thursday. Probably gonna drop this tomorrow. That's weird. Let's just do that. Okay, so what I want to record and talk about in this video, this is actually, I hope this is one of those videos that I look back on in 6 months and it's actually funny. Had I looked back 9 months ago, 10 months ago when I was just starting, I prayed for times like this, and I'm praying it goes away now. But it's a good problem to have. What I'm essentially doing right now is doing capacity planning and figuring out where do we allocate time, because something that I'm really obsessing about right now that I hope you guys can learn or I can share with you is it's actually so much fun. It's crazy because, by the way, this is what I do for fun on a Thursday night on most nights. It's just doing this bullshit, which I really enjoy. If you can't tell, I don't go out much. I just work all day, which I like. But something that I'm really obsessed with thinking about, by the way, heads up, I really need a script, By the way, I'm Canadian. I say, Okay, let me stop. Last thing. It's so funny because my barber, he always calls me a squirrel because I'll be talking. Okay, let me stop. So basically, what I'm trying to do right now is do forecast planning and allocation of resources, capital, energy, just all that kind of stuff. And by the way, I'm going to probably blur a lot of this, so you might not see exactly what I'm seeing right now. But thank God for Cloud Cowork because it's helping me just think through this right now. So I got my active MRR right now that me and the team are working through. But so I got 6 deals right now. Between the six, that can bring me 40,000. That's basically going to get me to the 100,000 that I want to get to, right? But if I add in that 42, everything breaks. So I'm right now working through who do I bring on? That's number one. By the way, this is also going to be a long video, so I'm probably going to post 15 minutes of this onto LinkedIn and then the rest onto YouTube. So just a heads up. So what I'm trying to figure out right now is which accounts do I take, like I'm calling, versus which accounts are the callers going to take on, and then which accounts are we going to take on together, right? And then which of the other ones am I going to work on with a partner? So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now, and how much time is it going to take away? Because, and again, you probably can't see this, so all good, but I'll kind of just like talk through it. So right now, I got my current book of business that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking through. I won't do too much scrolling because that's going to be pointless. But I'm thinking through right now. Okay, the MRR that it can bring me is X. The data cost is Y. My gross profit on that is Z, and I need to make sure I hit my floor of. I always want to try to maintain 80, either 80% or as close to 80% gross margin as possible. So for me, I close a contract for 7 grand for, let's just say, what the fuck? Why is he doing that shit? Sorry. Yeah, so let's just say I close a contract for 7 grand for 3 months. Okay, cool. 21,000. Now, when we do some basic math, if I'm paying a caller on that, let's just say 5 grand, right? Okay, boom. $16,000 is what I have left over. And I got to factor in that invoicing periods as well. Like, this is the stuff that guys like, it's actually so much fun. I don't know why it's so much fun trying to figure this out because I'm dealing with guys that are like in their 40s and some of them are in their 50s and we're negotiating. It's a lot of fun. So 16,000 is what's left over in terms of the after I pay the caller. Now of the 16, I gotta pay data costs. Let's say so that's gonna run me. I don't know. Wait, what am I talking about? Did I say? I hope I didn't say I pay him 16. I have 16 left over. So let's just do monthly actually first. So when I'm looking at monthly, 2,000 for the caller, right? I gotta pay roughly 640 a month for data, and then depending on if they want to do Titan X data and all that kind of stuff, right? It's gonna vary. So when I pay all that's $2,600 out of the 7,000. Okay, cool. We got 4,360. Now when I do that, hold on, 4,360 times 3, boom. Okay. So when I'm looking at this right now, I'm at 62% gross margin on that, right? In order for me to get let's just look at this, the 80%, this is where I'm caught in the pickle because I'm like, it's a caught in the pickle, right? What am I? Some boomer, but this is where I'm like, wait, if I just call it myself, I could just have, I don't know, like I'm looking at the breakdown here again. You can't see this, but it shows me my gross profit margin. God, I freaking hate this thing. Okay, it shows me my gross profit margin by the MRR size, right? So if I do 5,000 and I'm calling, I'm going to have 87% gross margin. If I do 6,500, 9,000. If I do, let's just jump all the way. If I do 13,000, 95% margin. I got one client right now. So I hope they're not watching this. And if you are, I love you. But it's so freaking easy to book meetings, to deliver. I love working with them. Oh my God, I love them. And you guys can only really appreciate that once you've had some dog shit clients. Thank God I haven't had awful clients, because you want to weed that stuff out. No matter how early you are in your journey, if you're watching this, in anything you do, fractional cold calling, whether you're taking a job, if you're an SDR, an AE, whatever. God, I'm going to stop editing this thing. So that's the thing I'm trying to figure out right now. So this is the other dilemma, because you guys tell me what you would do if you were me. I have right now X amount of clients. I'm not going to say exactly how much. I have X amount of clients, and it's not all of them I'm calling on, but it still requires time, because I got to edit the sequences. I got to listen to the calls. And obviously I'm putting a lot of automation. I'll talk, by the way, if you guys are interested, I'll talk about some of the automations that I either have, I'm working towards, and some of the ones that I've tried and didn't work too well. I have to do a lot of these things. So it's more than just, okay, cool, I place a caller. I got to put my attention, my support, my hands on that thing. But the ones that require me to call, those are like my key accounts, obviously. So I got to show them some love. And something I'm working towards that I've been saying a lot now is getting out of the key man risk, because a lot of people are like, hey, Elijah, we feel more comfortable if it was you calling. And by the way, of those 6 deals that I have, one of them for sure I got to call. Let me look at the other one. Yeah. Who's this guy? Yeah. Like, these are just the things I got to think through. And the thing I said I love this a lot, but the thing I really love is none of this is do or die. At the end of the day, like, I'm living okay. So I'm putting all this pressure, obviously, just for fun on myself. But the other thing is I'm asking Claude to just kind of help me think through this, right? And then I'm giving it the right inputs, because some clients I got to push back. This is the other thing. I got to do a lot of supply chain. I wish I went to school for this shit. But I got to figure out, okay, if somebody starts May 15th, right? And it's a 6-month contract. Okay, cool. I know I can't bring on any other caller if they want me to call. I just can't do that. So this is what I'm trying to debate right now, and thinking through this and stuff, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, like I'm probably gonna blur most of this shit. This is a lot of sensitive information here. But I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 4 people right now that I'm either calling for, or some of them are like a pre-launch phase, meaning like we've already signed a contract and it's gonna start, and they want me to call. So I'm factoring that in. And okay, this is gonna turn into almost a rant and a promotion of tools like FrontSpin, TitanX, great like ZoomInfo, and great data providers, because my clients care about outcomes that me and my team are getting for them, and my partners. In order for us to get those results, right? Because we're in the business of, we want to be able to, and any future clients watching this, don't take this the wrong way, but we're in the business of being able to maximize the number of outputs we can give, right? For the almost little, or I don't want to say no, like little to no, but for as little input as possible. Now, am I saying if I can book 5 meetings a day, am I going to stop at 2? No, that's stupid, obviously. But the way I want to operate is, and I had this happen all the time, and you guys see me post about this, which is, if I have a block, by the way, is an hour. If I have a block dedicated to each client, in this case, I mentioned 4 clients I'm calling for, right? So it's 4 hours a day. But I don't really have to do 4 hours a day, right? Because all they want is logic. If you can get us 2 or 3 meetings a week, we're happy. I said, perfect. If I get that in 20 minutes, think about how much time that can buy me back. And then think about if it's the same, think about if that's the same thing with my callers, right? If I have 4, I got 5 callers right now, bounty, and some of them are full-time, not full-time, but like they have contracts. Let's take the ones that have contracts. One of them, if he's blocking an hour a day, as an example, and we don't do any parallel dialing, screw all that bullshit, we don't do that here. If he has an hour to block for that client, and all he needs is 2 meetings a week, right? If he can have 5 to 8 conversations a day, and he can get that in 30 minutes, right? That 30 minutes that he basically cuts, you guys don't understand how precious that is. Like, I really learned the value of time. I don't even say this shit to brag to you guys. I do not check my thing. Like, my text, I want to show you my text. I don't check my text, my WhatsApp. If you really want to reach me, Slack and email. It used to be LinkedIn, but LinkedIn I just outsourced that shit to my VA. So I try to reply as much as possible, but if you're talking to me, it's most likely my VA. Because you just got to be so mindful of your time now. And some people might interpret that as arrogance, it's this, it's that, or who do you think you are? It's really not. You really learn. And that's why I'm learning live, like in real time. That's why I try to share as much as possible with you guys, because I can't keep saying this enough. I really thought when I first started my business that I was like, how am I going to make it past month 3, month 4? And I had a lot of guys, and one of them in particular, I'm going to shout you out, Drew Hoyer. He's been such a great influence on me, because before I even made the jump, he was the one always encouraging me. He He's like, dude, you crush all that kind of stuff. And I've had other people too, but he's just the one I'll share publicly. But yeah, like just going back to this, time is just so important. And that's why I'm trying to pull as many levers as possible. And connect rate by far is the most important one. You could argue client is more important because I've had clients before where we had like a 5%, 8% connect rate, but like the product is flying off the shelf. It's metaphorically and physically sometimes, but it's just so good. So there's that. So this is the fun thing that I'm trying to think through right now because I got to factor in so many things, the relationship and the dynamic of the client. Because candidly, I have some callers, bounty and full-time guys that I don't feel really comfortable putting them on an account full-time because they don't have as much experience with doing fractional calling. They don't know the dynamics. They don't know when to give feedback. And there's things like that. And I had one caller, he just was not a fit. Oh God. Shout out to him, but he was good in terms of results, but it was just a character. I did not feel comfortable leaving him alone with the client. I'm like, dude, I can't afford that. So that's just the thing that I have to think. So that's one bucket. The other bucket is what accounts do I want to call on versus like maybe like my partner wants to call on, maybe another partner wants to call on. It doesn't matter who. So those are things we're trying to figure out, making sure it makes sense economically for everybody. And it's just really interesting because when I'm thinking about this now from the point of view of most of you guys watching and myself, we all worked at software companies. So like when you think about this from a software like a point of view, right? There's a lot more that goes into it. And I'm like, wow, it's not as simple. Because you know how many times I can't even tell you guys, I can't count anymore. At least every other day, I get DMs on LinkedIn from people or on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever. People saying, yeah, I'll cold call for you and I'll generate you more leads and all this kind of stuff. I can't take more leads, guys. Like, there's one of those and I have to be really mindful. But at the same time, because the salesperson to me, I want to just close, right? But I got to be so careful. That's the challenges, right, of a service-based business is like you're going to be constrained on these things. And naturally, right, the solution typically is, okay, either increase prices because you're getting greater results. And this is something I talked about in my other video, which is niching down. I'm just really realizing more and more every day. I just wake up, I'm just like, fuck, I have to niche down, right? But it's tough because I don't want to let go of all this revenue, ethically, obviously. So that's an important thing I'm thinking through. And if you guys want a capacity planner, I can also share with you guys what I use and stuff. Because I have another, let me see if I can pause this thing. Because I don't know if I can. I actually don't like Tela. This thing is so bad. I like it, but I like it because I can record on Claude. Claude doesn't let you record if you have Loom. That's why I do it this way. But damn, I don't have it on here, but I could show you guys like some of the. Well, I gotta blur all this stuff out, but yeah, like the stuff I just have to think through is basically: am I gonna call? Am I gonna outsource the calling, right? To a North American, I get questions all the time. All my guys are North American. Don't worry. No disrespect to anyone who's not North American, but you got a little stigma. So I got to debate between that. And I also have to consider the complexity of the product. That's a big thing because sometimes I want to outsource it. I'm like, it's just too complex. The person's not going to get it. And this is why, too, I'm leaning a lot more towards just having a core group of 1 to 2 callers. That's the direction I have to go. I have so many contracts I can give them out, but it's like, I can't. So as I'm looking at these 2 right now, so I got 2 on the way. One I can't outsource, so I have to push that one back. Actually, the department might be happy. I'm gonna have to tell them June 15th, and as of me recording, it's August 30th, or what am I talking about? April 30th. So one of them I'm gonna outsource because I know the guy doesn't give a shit. He's just get me 2 meetings a week. That's all I want. I said, cool, we can do that, no problem. I'll get you a front spin, tight necks, great collar, boom. I manage that. But then this is the beauty actually. I got one that's a direct mail campaign. The direct mail campaign. I love this thing because the results are insane. Not saying I'm going to stop doing cold calling, but like direct mail, it's almost the holy grail of what I sell because we only target over a course of 3 months, we target 200 people, guys. So I only have to dial like 2 or 3 hours a week, and I can charge way more because the results are so stupid. Granted, there's higher cost of goods because of basically like $25 a mailer, right? Or like per, or not gift item that I sent. So I have to factor that in. But then the other thing is because I can work less and the results are better, right? Clients are happier. It's best of not both worlds, 3 worlds in this case. So I'm also trying to figure out because, and I mentioned this yesterday or not yesterday on the last video, if you guys watched that, I have 4 product lines. I only talk about one, which is cold calling. So spoiler alert, direct mail is the other one. But then there's the other 2 I won't reveal. I'll reveal one of them. The other one is like PVBs, like PVP per die prop at scale, which is really good. I don't often sell that as a standalone though, but it's a good intro offer. That's another thing too, by the way, guys. Intro offers and low ticket a low ticket offer works really well for certain markets and certain dynamics, depending on what you're trying to build with your business. But that's just something I've seen like that's really valuable. Going back to this, by the way, I really like these long form where I just can talk. Because usually with LinkedIn, I'm like, oh, I gotta keep it under 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. So if you like this, let me know. By the way, thank you. There were some of you from my last video, if you watched it, I said, I was calling you guys out. I was like, oh, like what the hell's wrong with you? If you guys are watching my videos, hit me up and let me know you're getting value out of this, because there's nothing more annoying, but I also really enjoy and I'm really grateful when someone's like, hey, I've been following you. I had one guy I mentioned this week say, I've been following you for, or sorry, I had 4 of them. I think of one in particular. I had 4 of them, and it went something along the lines of, hey, I've been following you for a couple months now. I really enjoy your content. Thank you. And I just want to say, keep it up. And honest to God, I really appreciate that, guys. Not that I do this because I want to make money off you guys, because I don't make shit off you. This is more for me, but if you guys can enjoy the ride, like, why not? But going back to my point, the direct mail, if I can have 30 to 40% of my revenue come from that, the margin, because this is the thing. I really like, and I always tell this to everybody. If you guys can watch Alex Hormozi's money model offer, like not watch, if you can listen to the book or watch the videos and stuff like that, what I would recommend, because I have a Claude project as well as a Gemini gem with all of his context on that. So I can ask him questions around my offer, my pricing, my positioning, my outreach, my everything. It's so incredible. And this is why, if I ever, not that I need funding as a service business, but like he talks about in that book, how can you basically cover the cost of acquisition for one client, but also have that client pay for the next one and money left over for you to cover your delivery costs, right? Within 30 days. And he uses 30 days as the benchmark, because anywhere, at least in the Western world, right? If you go to a bank or like a creditor or anybody or a lender, the general number is like 30 days. So if you think about it, if you can refinance or fund yourself and make your money back and then some, right? Have enough money left over for you to get a next client and cover your costs, that's stupid. You never need outside funding. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, how can I price? Like, pricing strategies is incredible. I love reading books, watching videos, consuming courses and content on pricing strategies, because that shit's so important. You guys don't understand. By the way, my glasses are so reflective. But anywho, that's something I'm thinking through, is if I can have X percentage of my revenue coming from direct mail, that can give me so much more wiggle room with margin that I can afford to pay a caller full time. Because like in an ideal world, I just want to just pay a caller, like one caller, and just have, him or her for 8 hours a day and just pay him like $7,000 a month or something US, $8,000 a month US. If they're really good, like $8,000 a month, but like most college can be like between 6 to 7. But that's like the thing I'm trying to aim for. So to do that, I gotta just think through all of this stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to think through. It's also pretty stressful too, in a good way. I mean that, right? Yeah. So I really, by the way, if you guys can't tell, I really enjoy the operational side, the planning. And I got certain buddies who, and it's funny because my partner, he'll always tell me like, planning works, but man plan, last God last, and all that old saying, which is true. But it's like, I gotta do something. What am I gonna do? And I know he doesn't mean that, and people who say that in general don't mean that, but I want to be able to forecast this. But yeah, the biggest edge I just keep coming back to is, how can I make the most out of one client, right? How can I squeeze the most juice out of that, right? How can I make the best messaging, the best targeting, the best mobile data, using Titan X, using FrontSpin, and the best tools and processes available to me, so I can make the most out of that block? Because when I free up that time, you just learn the value of like 30 minutes of an hour, right? As a business owner, you try to multiply that. It's just really fun. And another interesting thing too, by the way, I got a call today from a cleaning company, because I'm looking for some cleaners, because I don't want to bother with that shit. Because I have my meal prep guy. I'm also trying to get like a proper personal trainer, because I want to be more physical and do all that healthy stuff that I'm supposed to do. So like, I just want to automate as much of that stuff as possible. But it was interesting when this cleaning company called me. They said, I think it was like 180. It's like $212 for 3 hours or something. And like immediately my mind was like, I wonder, what's your gross margin? Like, what's your cost of delivery on that? What's your net profit on that? What's your SG&A, right? Like your sales costs, sales and marketing costs and all that. That's where my mind was going. I was like, it's so interesting, because they're selling real human labor, and that's hard shit to scale. But yeah, so I hope this video was, I don't know, helpful, or just kind of giving you an insight to like what I think about at the stage that I'm at right now. There's guys I know that are at 150, 300, 500,000 a month, $1 million a month. There's some guys I know that are starting out. They're at 5, 10, 15, 20K. And that's a great position to be in. And all of us is so interesting, because I always talk to all these different guys, and we're all at different levels. And it's always just so interesting to think. I mentioned this in my last video, but the people you surround yourself with, guys, holy shit, that old saying of you are the average of the 5, it's insane. Because when I'm around certain people, they really push it. They're like, dude, like 100, that's so easy. You can get there. And it's a matter of time and systems and all that kind of stuff. But then it's also really fun to talk to guys that are like, at let's say 8, 10, 12, 15 a month, because like they have limiting beliefs. And I love giving them support where I'm like, no, I trust. I'm like, dude, like, and again, it's all about perspective and where you're at, right? I'm telling like my buddies who are 8 to 10 or 12 a month. I'm like, dude, you can easily in your sleep do 15, 18, 20, right? But it's only because of what I know now, right? And then the guys that are above me are saying the same thing to me, but I can't see it yet. I know I'm gonna eventually get there. So it's just really fun thinking about that kind of stuff. And I had 2 coaching calls today. And the coaching calls, I can't tell you guys how much I love those because I always look forward to them throughout the week because that's the one thing where I can step away from this business stuff. Because don't get it twisted. There's days where, like today, I actually just want to just pass out. Not even pass out, but just go play my thing with my PS5, go play 2K or something, watch a movie, call my girl and just chill out, hang out with her. I haven't seen her in so long too. That's the other thing. Thank God she's so supportive and understanding. And obviously it helps that she's not a gold digger. I'm not gonna say that shit. Like she's spending my money because she doesn't. But amazing. That's the other thing too. Having a great partner, you guys can't understand. I've seen guys who had dog shit partners. So yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna pause it here. I hope this video was helpful. You got a nugget or two out of this, and let me know. Reach out to me on LinkedIn if this is valuable. And yeah, thank you for spending almost 25 minutes with me if you've made it this far. I always say this, but I'm always just shocked whenever someone watches more than a minute of my videos because I'm like, what's someone watching me for? So yeah, I'll pause it here, but thank you. Bye.